Hello. Today we are talking about linear function word problems. So remember linear functions? They're functions whose slope is a constant rate of change, meaning the slope doesn't change as we go through our domain. So there are two main forms of a linear function that we can write it in. And one is the y-intercept form, which we're more comfortable with. It's the y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. And we also have point slope form, which is what we dealt with last lesson. It's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where m is still the slope. And remember, x1, y1 is just some point that is given. Now, we'll be using these different forms differently depending on what information is given to us. So for instance, the y-intercept form we generally use when we're given a slope and a y-intercept. So if you're reading a word problem and say, oh, that's a slope, oh, that's a y-intercept, then use y-intercept form. If you are reading a word problem and it gives you 2 points, but doesn't give you a slope, then you'll want to use point slope form, okay? And sometimes we'll be in point slope form and we'll want to solve for y so that we're in y-intercept form. That is definitely okay. We could just simplify it and it'll look like this. So let's just go through a few examples here. So example 1. A plumber charges $30 for a service call plus $60 per hour. Find a linear function that represents their total charges C as a function of time H. So let's see what's given to us here. Let's see. Well, first off, I see per, right? Now, when I see per, that is a slope. If you see per, each, every, something like that, then that's my slope. And this, a plumber charges $30 for a service call, well, that's a one-time fee, right? A service call is just a one-time fee. It doesn't matter how many hours they're there. It's just I show up, it's $30 automatically. Well, that is a y-intercept. Whenever you see something that is just like a one-time fee or like a startup fee or something, that is always a y-intercept. So let's see here. My m is my slope and my b is my y-intercept. So my m would be our slope of $60 per hour. So my m is simply 60. Now, my b, the y-intercept, well, that's going to be this one-time fee of $30. So our function c of h is equal to, well, m, so 60, well, I'll get this in view too, m, well, c of h is my y, isn't it? It says the charges, it's just like f of x, but these are our variables here. Then mx plus b, well, m is 60, and x, well, x is defined as an h here, so 60h plus 30, plus my b value. And that's the function right there. C of h equals 60h plus 30. Now let's take a look at the second one. So the printing service charges a $5 one-time order fee and 15 cents to print per page. Find a linear function that represents the total cost C to print P pages. Well, here again, I see $5 one-time fee, right? So this is my y-intercept. And then I see this 15 cents to print per page. That is slope. Remember, whenever you see per or each or every, something like that, that signifies that's a slope. So our m is going to be 0.15, or just 0.15 if you'd rather. And our b is the one-time service fee or order fee of $5. So we plug it into our function of y equals mx plus b. Let's see what we're given. We're given c and p. So c of p is equal to 0.15, that's our slope, times x, but our x is defined as p in this case, and then plus 5. And there you have it, that's our function. So this is what it would look like when we're dealing with functions that the word problem gives us a y-intercept and a slope. But let's take a look at point-slope form and what that's going to look like. Because we're not given a slope necessarily when in some problems. So let's take a look at this example. A publisher charges $20 to print a 200-page book and $15 to print a 100-page book. Find a linear function which models the cost c as a function of the number of pages p. Interpret the slope of the linear function and find c of 0. So now notice we're given 2 points. And the points we're given is it costs $20 for 200 pages and $15 for 100 pages. Those are 2 points right there. We just need to determine what our x and what our y is, or in this case c and p, right? So the cost c is our y value and p is our x value. So the pages are our x, the cost is our y value. So think, this could be something like, I'm just going to use y and x here, but think p and c are interchangeable, right? C is y, p is x. Well, money, the cost, is our y, so this could be y1, and then this is, well, I guess y2. Well, it doesn't really matter. And then the pages are the x, so this would be x2. That's one. That's one ordered pair. We have, remember, x goes first. That's going to be 200, 20. And then this can be y1 because it's money, and this is x1 because it's pages. So our other point that's given is 100, 15. So again, we are given that the cost is our y value and p is our x. So I got our 2 points. At 200 pages, it's $20. So at 200 pages, it's $20. At 100 pages, it's 15. At 100 pages, it's $15. So that's our relationship that we're given. Now, we want to find c of p, which means we want to solve for y. And which implies to me that we want it in y-intercept form if it's solved for y. Notice this isn't solved for y. Y is not by itself. But we're given points. So we're going to put it into point-slope form, and then we're going to solve it, or we're going to simplify and solve for y to put it into y-intercept form. So putting it into our point-slope form, well, let me label these again. This is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. Okay. So for our form, point-slope form, it's y minus y1, so y minus 15 equals our m. Now, remember, we need to find our m just like when we did last lesson, right? That's the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's go ahead and do that real quick off to the side. My y2 is 20, minus y1 is 15, over 200 minus 100, which simplifies to what, 5 over 100? 20 minus 15 is 5. 200 minus 100 is 100. And we can reduce this to 120 if you'd like. It's just a nicer number. So our slope is 1 over 20 times x minus x1. Awesome. So now that we have it in now that we have it in point slope form, we need to put it into y-intercept form because it's asking us what is C of p, and C of p implies y-intercept form. So let's just go ahead and simplify this. Solve for y. So right now I'm going to leave the 15 where it's at because I want to simplify this first. Well, we need to distribute this 1 over 20 to both x and negative 100. So let's see here. Okay, so 1 over 20 times x is 120x. Ooh, I'm sorry. I should have used C and P, shouldn't I have? It's okay. We'll just switch it at the end. 120x, and then 120 or 1 over 20 times negative 100. Let's think about this for a moment. How do we multiply fractions to whole numbers? Well, this is my advice for you if you ever get confused. Multiply the top number to the whole number and then divide it by the bottom. So when we have something like, let me do a different color. If we have something like 1 over 20 times 100, we want to multiply the top. So 1 times 100 is 100, then divide by the bottom. So 1 times 100 is 100. 100 divided by 20 is 5. So this is going to be minus 5. Or I guess you could always use your calculators on your phone. But that's how you do it. And then let's solve for y. We need to add 15 to both sides to get y by itself. So we get y equals 1/20th x. Negative 5 plus 15 is plus 10. So this is our function in C of p form. So if I want to rewrite this as C of p is equal to 1 over 20 p, that's for pages, plus 10. So here, 120p plus 10. And then it asks for C of 0. Well, that's easy. We just plug in 0 in for p. Well, here's the nice thing about slope-intercept form. Whenever we plug in 0 for p, or for whatever our input is, it's just going to leave us with 10. Because think about this. Or it'll just leave us with our b, our y-intercept, and that's C of 0 is exactly what a y-intercept is. So if I'm solving for this, C of 0 is equal to 1 over 20 times 0 plus 10. Well, doesn't this whole thing just zero out? So C of 0 is just going to be my b value, or 10. Yeah, so that's what's really nice. Just always going to be our y-intercept, because C of 0 really is the y-intercept. It's just a different way of writing it. Now, the slope, it says to interpret the slope. So, interpret means to use your words, basically. So the slope is, it costs, let's see, 1/20th of a dollar. So it's saying it costs 1/20th of a dollar to print per page. But what is 1/20th of a dollar? It's 5 cents. If you want to as well, in your phone calculator, you can just type in 1 divided by 20. It'll give you a nice decimal, 5 cents. So it costs, let's see, 5 cents per page. That's all you have to write. Just as long as you have like a keyword like per in there or something, okay? That would be good. Let's do another example where we're given 2 points. And you'll find that these are slightly more challenging, or not challenging, work intensive. It takes more work than our other examples we did. So An exterminator charges $120 to spray 3 rooms and $80 to spray 1 room. Find a linear function which models the cost to spray C as a function of rooms R. Interpret the slope of the linear function and find C of 0. So again, let's just define what we're given here. We're given 2 points, $120 at 3 rooms and $80 for 1 room. And it gives us the cost is C, so that's our Y value, Y. And then we're given R, which is our X. Just like the last problem, we'll just use Y and X until we get to the end and then just change it. Okay, so let's see. I know that money is my Y. So I could say this is Y1, and that would make this X1 because rooms are X's. And then this would be Y2, and this would be X2, just like that. So our points here is going to be 1 comma 80, because X goes first. And then we'll have 3 comma 120. And let's go ahead and find our slope real quickly while we're at it. So this is x1, y1, this is x2, y2. Okay, so we have 120 minus 80 divided by 3 minus 1. Let's simplify, so 120 minus 80 is 40 divided by 3 minus 1, which is 2. And 40 divided by 2, this is nice. We get a whole number this time instead of a fraction like we did last time. So 20 is our slope. Now let's plug in all of our values into the point slope form, and then we can put it into CR form and solve for our y-intercept. So with that being said, we have y minus y1, so y minus 80 equals m, which is 20, times x minus x1, so x minus 1. All right, let's multiply this out. Remember, we're going to have to distribute that 20. We need to distribute our slope. So y minus 80 equals 20 times x, which is 20x. And 20 times negative 1 is just minus 20. And then we can add 80 to both sides to get y by itself. Which will give us, let's see, y equals 20x. Negative 20 plus 80 is 60, plus 60. Awesome. And you might be wondering, I don't know if you are, but you might be. When we add 80, why don't we add it to 20x? Well, remember, we can only add like terms together, and because this does not have an x, we can't add it to the x. We have to add it to the constant, because they're both constants. All right, so then to rewrite this in C of R form, y is C of R equals 20R plus 60. All right, so that's our function. We have 20R plus 60. So C of 0 we know to be just 60. And the slope costs $20 per room. Awesome. So I didn't ask you guys to interpret C of 0, but what is C of 0? Well, C of 0 really is our one-time fee. Remember, we were talking about that in y-intercept form. So this exterminator charges $60 to show up to your house, and then $20 per room. That's basically what that means. Likewise, up here, the publisher charges a $10 booking fee or one-time fee to start up the printer, I don't know, plus 5 cents per page. So kind of bringing it all together there. So does that bell bring back memories? All right. Anyway, that's all I have for y'all. Saved by the bell. Okay. Have a good day, y'all.